Alright, hey everybody, Alex here. This video is going to be about getting your mic recording setup up and running. Kind of just a small collection of tips and some advice from the experience that I've had recording my vocals in a kind of home studio environment. So if you've been recording yourself for any length of time, you might know this stuff. It's quite basic, but if you are just starting out or you're thinking of just starting out and you want to know how to kind of set your mic up and everything so that you get the best possible recording you can out of that setup, then I hope you get something out of this video. Let's dive right into it. Alright, so the first thing you're going to want to think about is how reflective the room that you're recording in is. So ideally you're not wanting to record any reverberations or echoes of your voice reflecting off the walls of your room and back into the microphone, because you're going to want to try and record a very dry signal so that you can put whatever effect you want to on that track later, and not have any natural reverb that you've recorded be in that track from the start, because that can be really annoying to work with and it doesn't sound too great. One thing that you're going to want to try and do at least is have a little bit of space behind the mic that you're recording into. So you don't want a flat, bare wall right behind the microphone, because then obviously when you sing you're going to get reflections right back into the microphone again. So ideally have a little bit of space behind the microphone if you can. If you can't, if you're a little bit starved for space in the room that you're recording in, you could try, for one, having curtains or something behind your mic. They'll deaden the sound a little bit, or even hanging something like towels up right behind the mic if you can, because really your main source of reflection is going to be that back wall behind your microphone. So if you can do anything to deaden the sound and the reflections coming off that wall, or even have ideally not a wall there at all for a little bit of space, that's what you're going to shoot for, and that will allow you to record without any natural reverb creeping into the recording there. Tip number 2 is something quite basic, but something that can be overlooked very easily: the height of your mic. So the idea behind your whole recording setup is that you want to be able to give the best performance that you can, and not have it restricted in any way by the way you've set up your mic or anything like that. So if you imagine you set up your mic too low, you'll be restricting your airflow and you won't be singing naturally. Likewise, set it too high on the stand and that would be a really unnatural position for you to sing in as well, and it wouldn't be how you'd do it normally if you weren't recording. Having the mic at a kind of level height so you're not tilting your head at all is okay. Something that's slightly better is having it just up just a little bit, so your chin is just up a little bit. That really allows you totally unrestricted airflow, really helps you project, and it'll help you give a really good performance. Tip number 3, you're going to want to cut out the plosive sounds in your recording, so the P and the B sounds. These are kind of like little explosions of air, and if you're right up on your microphone, then they're going to be picked up really easily at a really high level. You could even clip your recording if your gain is set a bit too high, so that's something you absolutely want to avoid. It doesn't sound great in your recording even if it doesn't clip, so you're going to want to try and avoid it. Something that you can use to cut down on these sounds is a pop filter. Basically having this right in front of your mic will basically just cut out those sounds. Means you can get right up on your microphone, doing those P's and those B's, those plosive sounds, and they're not going to be picked up so explosively in the recording. And that's going to give you a much better result than if you didn't have a pop filter. If you're already recording your own vocals and you don't have one of these, first of all, you should really. And 2, if it's really not feasible for you to get one, something you can try and do as an alternative is not sing directly straight into the mic, but sing off at a slight angle. But remember, as you're doing this, you're not going to be getting the best out of your mic's recording pattern. So you should really try and invest in one of these if you can. They're not too expensive and it's a really good bit of kit to have. The next thing to think about is the distance you're going to be recording at from your microphone. So ideally you're going to want to be reasonably close to the mic. Me personally, I tend to record about 10 to 15 centimeters or so away. Why do you want proximity to the mic? Because after your gain adjustments on your preamp and so on, you're going to want to have the best signal to noise ratio as you can out of your recordings. So you want your vocal to be nice and loud compared to any background ambience that you might have also being recorded, or as a result of the equipment that you're using. So as with any other aspect of your setup, if you're adjusting it about a bit, you should try and do some test takes to see just how it sounds, and make sure your recording is not clipping, make sure your vocal's nice and clear. Personally, I tend to record so that my vocal track, it peaks around -10 dB or so, That works for me. I have quite a good environment to record in. There's not a lot of background noise here, so that works for me. Might not work for you. You might have to try and get a little bit louder, but just try a couple test takes and see what works for you, what distance is fine, what gain level is fine for you. One thing to bear in mind, you don't want to have recorded and then realize that one vital point of your recording is clipped. So you do want a little bit of a buffer above the loudest that you're going to be, just in case that kind of thing happens. Finally, just consider the headphones that you're using to monitor yourself when you're recording. You're going to want headphones that don't leak a lot of sound, because obviously any sound that leaks while you're monitoring yourself is just going to go straight back into the mic and you're going to be recording that as well. So that's ambience that you don't want. So headphones that go all around your ears are really good for this. They contain the sound really well. Earbuds are also a good alternative. Just make sure there's no sound leaking there, you're not playing it too loud. Again, do a couple test takes just to verify that everything's okay there, and you should be good to go. So that's my advice based on the experiences that I've had in setting up your mic so that you can get a really good bass line for you to then mix your vocals in with the rest of your music. I hope you found this helpful in some way, whether you were just starting out or you've been recording a little while on your own. I really hope there's something you can take away from this video and apply to your own setup. So if you've got any questions, feel free to leave a comment, and I'll see you next time. Bye.